Once upon a time, in a city that sparkled with dreams, a woman in red changed everything. Her smile stopped traffic, her laugh melted hearts, and her love, against all odds, turned a lonely billionaire into a believer. But that was a long time ago. And fairy tales, they don't always end when the credits roll. The streets of Beverly Hills still shine at night, but they're not the same anymore. The laughter that once echoed through the hotels and boutiques has faded into whispers of memory. Somewhere in that city, behind tinted car windows and the glow of neon signs, a love story sleeps, waiting to wake again. It's been years since the night he climbed the fire escape, roses in hand, promising forever. The city remembers that moment. The crowd, the music, the magic. Everyone believed they would make it. Everyone hoped love could really be that simple. But life, as always, had other plans. Edward Lewis built empires. He learned to speak the language of power and silence. His face graced the covers of magazines. His name echoed through boardrooms. But behind every headline was an empty penthouse, a glass of untouched wine, and a photo. One photo of her, Vivian, the girl who made him believe in more than numbers and deals. And Vivian, she became more than the fairy tale everyone knew. She took her laughter and turned it into something brighter. She built a life, not perfect, not polished, but real. A woman who once looked for her worth in reflections, now finds it in her purpose. But even in her happiest moments, a small part of her wonders, what if? What if he never stopped thinking about her? What if the story never really ended? As the city lights flicker on another night, the camera glides past a limousine, its tires hissing on the wet road. Inside, a hand adjusts a watch. The same watch he wore the day they met. The same man, older now, wiser, quieter. His eyes are the same, though. Searching, waiting, remembering. Cut to the reflection of a woman walking past a shop window. A red scarf flutters in the wind. We don't see her face, just the movement, the rhythm, the grace that once stopped time. The sound of heels against the sidewalk syncs with the heartbeat of the city. The soundtrack hums softly, echoing the melody that once defined a generation. Oh, pretty woman. The narrator's voice returns, calm, deep, carrying both love and longing. They said their story was over, that the fairy tale had found its ending. But sometimes, endings are just where destiny takes a breath. As the music swells, glimpses of the past flash. The balcony kiss, the hotel elevator doors closing, her laughter in the rain. The world remembers. The camera pans upward, to the skyline of Los Angeles, glowing like gold against the night. The city that never stopped believing in love. Once upon a time, he saved her from the world. But maybe this time, she's the one who'll save him. The final shot of this section fades to black as a single word appears on screen. Coming back. A whisper follows, Pretty Woman 2. The fairy tale isn't over yet. The fairy tale didn't fade all at once. It unraveled slowly, one unanswered call at a time, one promise postponed until tomorrow. Time has a way of stealing the simple things first. Laughter, warmth, the way someone says your name. And before you realize it, years have turned into silence. Edward sits in his office, high above the city he helped build. The skyline looks the same, but everything else has changed. He's surrounded by success. Glass towers, polished floors, deals that never stop. Yet the noise of his world feels hollow. He once believed love was a distraction, a luxury for dreamers. But now, in his 60s, it's the one deal he regrets walking away from. A storm brews outside. The windows shimmer with rain. Edward gazes at the city lights and sees only reflections. Flashes of the woman who once stood beside him, smiling without fear, loving without condition. He remembers her voice, the way she said his name like it meant something. And for a moment, he lets himself whisper it back. Vivian. Somewhere across the same city, Vivian teaches a small group of young women how to believe in themselves. Her laughter still fills the room, warm, bright, familiar. But there's a shadow behind her smile. Every success she's earned feels slightly incomplete, as if a chapter of her life is missing its final line. She's built everything she once dreamed of, except closure. Time changed them both. Edward grew into a man the world respects, but few truly know. Vivian became a woman admired by many, but loved by none the same way. The world moved forward, faster, louder. But their hearts stayed behind, trapped in that final night when he promised forever, and she believed him. The narrator's voice deepens, blending sorrow and wisdom. They built their lives on opposite sides of the same dream. He searched for meaning in success. She found it in kindness. But the distance between them was never measured in miles. It was measured in regret. Cut to a montage. Edward walking alone through an empty hotel lobby, stopping as he sees a red dress displayed behind glass. Vivian sitting by the ocean, waves touching her shoes, eyes closed as if listening for something she can't name. Two watches ticking in sync, though they rest on different wrists, in different rooms, in different worlds. Music swells softly, a haunting piano piece echoing the melody of Pretty Woman, slowed down, fragile, nostalgic, then a turning point. Edward receives an invitation, a charity gala at the Regent Hotel. A small, handwritten note attached reads, "For those who believe in second chances." No name, no signature. But something about the handwriting feels like home. He stares at the note for a long time. The city hums below him. The rain stops. For the first time in years, he smiles. Not a perfect practice smile, but the kind that remembers. The scene cuts to Vivian, opening a jewelry box. Inside is the necklace he once gave her, the one that snapped when they first met. She runs her fingers over it, her eyes filled with memories. She laughs softly, but her voice breaks halfway through. Funny how life gives you everything you ever wanted, except the one thing you can't forget. The narrator's voice returns, gentler now, carrying a glimmer of hope. Time can steal youth, it can fade beauty, it can rewrite stories, but true love, it waits. It learns patience. It finds its way back, when the world least expects it. The camera pans across the city one last time. Two figures walk alone, him in the distance, her in the crowd, unaware that fate is already stitching their paths together again. Lightning flashes. The sound of a familiar song begins, barely audible. They thought their story had ended, but sometimes love doesn't need permission to return. The screen fades to black. Title card, Pretty Woman 2, The Fairy Tale Returns 2025. A soft laugh echoes, then silence. Fate doesn't knock twice. It waits quietly, hiding behind moments that seem ordinary. A chance encounter, a glance in a crowded room, a song playing at the wrong time. But when it strikes, it's never an accident. It begins with rain. A soft drizzle over Beverly Hills, washing the streets in gold and reflection. Edward steps out of his car, umbrella in hand, heading toward the grand entrance of the Regent Hotel. The same place where their story once began. The city feels familiar yet distant, like an old photograph brought to life. The doorman greets him, but Edward barely hears. His mind is somewhere else, lost in a melody that lingers in the air. The faint sound of "Oh, Pretty Woman" drifting from inside. He pauses. His heart does something it hasn't done in years. It remembers. Inside, the charity gala glows with elegance and laughter. The crowd moves like waves, sequins and smiles blending into the music. The camera glides through faceless figures, shimmering gowns, polished shoes, champagne glasses clinking in rhythm. The narrator speaks softly. Sometimes the past doesn't need an invitation. It finds its way back, through the cracks of time, through the spaces between heartbeats. Across the room, Vivian stands near a window, her reflection blending with the city lights. She's older, but her grace is timeless, calm, radiant, quietly powerful. The red scarf she wears catches the glow of the chandelier, fluttering like a memory that refuses to fade. She looks out into the rain, unaware that the man she once loved is just steps away. Edward turns, scanning the crowd. He isn't sure what he's looking for, until his eyes catch that flash of red. His breath catches. The room falls silent in his mind. Time collapses. For a moment, he's 30 again. Standing in front of her, the world shrinking around them. He moves closer, slowly, as if afraid she'll disappear. She senses something, turns slightly, and though we never see her face, just the curve of her cheek, the softness of her smile, it's enough. The air between them changes. The narrator's voice trembles with emotion. After all these years, destiny finally remembered their names. Cut to quick glimpses. A raindrop sliding down the glass as they face each other. A faint smile forming, unsure but real. Their hands brushing as they reach for the same champagne glass. The soundtrack swells, strings rising like a heartbeat rediscovering its rhythm. Edward finally speaks, his voice quiet, unsure, human. "I thought I'd forgotten the sound of your laugh." Vivian smiles, not with her lips, but with her silence. Her eyes soften, her heart remembering everything at once. She answers gently, "You didn't forget. You just stopped listening." For a second, the world stands still. The crowd fades away, leaving only them. Two souls who spent decades pretending they'd moved on. The music shifts, slow and tender. The narrator returns. Love doesn't age. It waits in the corners of time. Patient as light, fierce as memory. And when it finds you again, It feels exactly the same. Montage. They dance under soft golden lights, not perfectly, but honestly. A slow-motion shot of his hand resting on hers. Older, but steadier. Laughter returning between them, quiet and raw. A reflection of their younger selves in the glass, overlapping their present. Outside, the rain stops. The city hums with life. A limousine waits by the curb, just like the first night. As they step outside, Edward opens the umbrella. Vivian looks up at him, her red scarf catching the wind once more. "The last time we stood here," she says softly, "you promised forever." He smiles, eyes glimmering. "Then maybe it's time I keep my promise." The camera pans upward, over the city lights, over the quiet streets of Beverly Hills, as the soundtrack swells into a symphony of hope. The narrator concludes, voice low and trembling. The years took them apart. But destiny knew the way back. The screen fades to black. Text on screen. Pretty Woman 2, Destiny Calls Back, 2025. A final sound, her laugh, gentle and free, echoes as the music fades. Some stories don't fade. They wait. Hidden beneath years, behind choices, beneath the noise of living. When love is real, time doesn't erase it. It only pauses the music until both hearts are ready to hear it again. The rain has stopped, but the streets still glisten under the glow of Beverly Hills. The city is quieter now. The world that once watched their fairy tale unfold has changed, grown older, colder. Yet tonight, there's something in the air. Something soft. Something familiar. Something that feels like forever. Edward and Vivian walk along the sidewalk where they once first met. No red dresses, no limousines, no audience. Just two people, stripped of everything but truth. Their steps are slow, unhurried. The city hums around them. But they only hear each other. The narrator speaks in a hushed, reverent tone. Once upon a time, he bought her a week. Now, she's giving him a lifetime. They stop by the shop window where their story began. That perfect display of diamonds and dreams. The reflection shows not who they were, but who they've become. Older, yes. Wiser, certainly. But still them. Hearts beating the same rhythm. Eyes that still see each other the same way. Vivian smiles softly, almost shyly, like the girl she once was. "We've both changed, Edward." He looks at her, his voice warm but trembling with truth. "Good, because maybe this time, we'll get it right." The world fades around them, replaced by a montage, faceless yet vivid. The two walking hand in hand through the city at sunrise. A candlelit dinner on a rooftop, laughter echoing through the wind. Her scarf tied around his wrist like a promise reborn. A piano playing in an empty ballroom, the same melody that once played the night they fell in love. The narrator's voice returns, stronger now, no longer mournful, but filled with hope. Love isn't about going back. It's about returning as who you've become and choosing each other all over again. The camera moves through moments that feel both new and nostalgic. Edward writing a letter by hand, the kind people don't send anymore. Vivian reading it in the morning light, smiling through tears. A close-up of her hand reaching for his. Not the trembling touch of youth, but the steady hold of forever. Cut to a wide shot. The skyline of Los Angeles glowing at dusk, the sky painted in gold and violet. The music swells, a cinematic orchestral version of Pretty Woman, filled with strings and soft piano, grand yet intimate. Edward stands before her, the same way he did all those years ago. Only this time, no grand gesture, no climb, no rescue. Just truth. "You didn't need saving, Vivian. You never did. You were the one who saved me." She steps closer, eyes glimmering, voice barely above a whisper. "Then don't let me go this time." The narrator pauses, then speaks the line that seals their story. They began as strangers. They became a fairy tale. And after all these years, they finally found home. The camera pans upward as they embrace. Faceless silhouettes framed by the city lights, the reflection of their past shimmering behind them. The scene fades slowly into golden light. A single white rose falls from Vivian's hand onto the wet pavement, its petals scattering like memories. A gentle breeze carries them away. One landing near the limousine, another near the shop window, another at Edward's feet. He bends down, picks one up and smiles, cut to black. Then, the final words appear on screen, one by one, bold, cinematic, glowing softly. Some love stories never end. Pretty Woman 2, The Promise Rewritten, coming 2025. A single note of music lingers, then fades. And finally, the sound that started it all returns. Julia Roberts' laugh, light and eternal, echoing through time, fade out,